All right, welcome to the English 9A Week 1 asynchronous session. We're talking about reading for the main idea and for supporting detail today. Our objective is to be able to read a piece of nonfiction for main idea and supporting detail. You'll find in our unit this week in lesson 1 through 5, we did a lot of nonfiction reading. So we are going to talk today about what the idea is behind finding the main purpose, what the main purpose is, what supporting detail is, and then how to identify both of them. We're going to review some strategies for how to find both the main idea and the supporting detail in the text. When you complete the video, you need to go into the classroom. You're going to go into the Primavera website. You're going to go to courses and you're going to pick English 9A. When you open up, you're going to click on that quizzes tab at the top and you're going to select the quiz 1 for you're going to select what it's going to say, synchronous, asynchronous session week 1. And you're going to select that to complete the quiz for credit for this session. All right, so let's get started. We've already reviewed the objective. It's positioned up there on the screen for you. And we're going to move on to this first slide. We're going to talk about finding the main purpose. Now, everything we read has a main purpose or a main idea. Whether it's fiction or nonfiction, the author has intention when they sit down and they begin to write. They're writing with purpose. Typically, fiction would be to entertain us. But in nonfiction, the text is trying to persuade, inform, or educate the reader. So when you're reading the information through Unit 1 this week, you can identify what those pieces are trying to do. They're trying to persuade, inform, or educate you. So when we identify the main purpose, it helps to connect to that idea. What are they trying to tell me? Are they trying to make me believe a certain way? Are they trying to give me some information? Are they trying to teach me something? So then you have that question of where is the main idea in the text? The main idea is typically in the first few paragraphs if it's a longer piece of writing, or in the first paragraph if it's a shorter piece of writing, and it will indicate what the reader is going to discuss. What the author is going to discuss for the remainder of the piece of writing. So you're going to be able to identify what the author's intention is for the whole piece, and then you'll pick up the supporting details as you read. So let's talk about some strategies. Now these strategies are useful in identifying both the main purpose and the supporting detail. Before we read, we're going to set a purpose. Are we reading for entertainment? Like when I go to bed at night, I like to read for about 10 minutes. I'm not going to read some informational text. I'm going to pick up a piece of fiction that I'm engaged in, that I'm interested in, but I'm going to read it for entertainment. If I'm reading an essay on changing the voters' rights, then I'm going to be like, oh, I'm reading to be, persuaded one way or the other. If I'm reading an essay on how to change my tire, I'm looking to learn something. So I got to set my purpose. Am I trying to learn something? Am I trying to be persuaded or not persuaded? Or am I trying to be informed about something? The next thing we're going to do is preview the text. This is where we're going to see, are there any graphs or any pictures, that maps, etc. that go along with the text that can help us. We're going to take a look at the title. A lot of times the title is going to give you an indication of the purpose, or at least lead you down the right direction. And then we're going to activate background knowledge. What type of background knowledge are we bringing with us to the text itself? For example, if I were to say to you, hey, we're going to read the Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln, you're going to go, I've heard of that guy. I know who Abraham Lincoln is. Even if you haven't read the Gettysburg Address yet, you have background knowledge about who Abraham Lincoln is, when Abraham Lincoln was alive, and what Abraham Lincoln did when he was alive. So you're going to bring that knowledge with you to the text, and that's going to help you understand the text itself. Next, we're going to make more predictions based on what we've already done. We're going to think, okay, so now that I've activated my background knowledge, looked at the title, and I have a purpose, I'm going to make a prediction about what I'm going to read. While we're reading, we're going to cross-check. That means we're going to check ourselves as we go through the reading itself. What is the reading saying? How can we make those connections as we read? A lot of people, when I say reread the text, they're like, what? Are you crazy? I'm not going to reread the text. It was 12 paragraphs long. Well, what I suggest doing then, you don't want to go back and reread the entire thing, is to read sections of the text that maybe you didn't understand or that were unclear to you, or that didn't make sense the first time through. So reread those sections of the text. That way you can confirm your predictions. Were we right? Were we wrong? And then we're going to connect that background knowledge to what we read. So what did we bring to the text and how did we see it develop through the reading? How are we able to draw those connections between the world and ourselves, our background knowledge and ourselves, other texts and ourselves. So we're going to connect background knowledge, confirm predictions, reread, cross-check, which means to make those connections, and then we're going to review what we've learned from the reading. All right, so let's practice this. We're going to identify first the purpose of this text, the main idea of the text. We'll talk about supporting details in a minute, but we're going to talk just about the purpose of the text. So I'm going to read through it, and while I read through it, I want you to think to yourself, I think this is what it's about. I want you to write it down, and then I want you to see if you're right. So this doesn't have a title, so we can't do that, right? We can't look at it and go, there's no title, so we can't make a prediction based on the title. But, oops, sorry, I hit that a little too quickly. But our first word is advertising. So advertising, that's a word that we're all familiar with. So since it's the first word in our reading, we're going to make predictions. I'm going to predict that this has something to do with advertising because I know what advertising is and we see it every day. We can make connections to it every day. We all have jingles stuck in our head. So we can bring that background knowledge and those connections to the text. My purpose for reading this is to be informed because it's a nonfiction text. So I'm looking to be informed in this reading, and I will be able to identify the purpose a little bit more narrowly as we continue the reading. So here I go. I'm going to read it out loud, and then I want you to identify what you think the purpose of the text is, and then we'll talk about it. Advertising affects our lives every day. Brand names are common household words. We start each day using the toothpaste, soap, and breakfast foods promoted by advertisers. Ads have made the cars we drive signs of our success. Our choices of food, dress, and entertainment are swayed by ads. Not one aspect of American life is untouched by advertising. Okay, excellent. So we're looking at this text, we're scamming through. We're going to think about those strategies of identifying the main purpose. So I was right. It has something to do with advertising, right? One big question to ask is what is the who in here? So with the who or the what. So the what is advertising. The whole thing is about advertising, but what element of advertising? Advertising affects our lives every day. Brand names are common household words. So exactly, if I'm going to brush my teeth or if I'm going to grab a soda, a lot of times I say I'm going to grab a Coke. I use the title or the brand name. So I'm like, okay, that's true. I can draw that connection with the text. So I'm trying to think. Advertising affects our lives every day. Okay, so that's one of our main ideas because everything that happens below that sentence explains how advertising affects our lives every day. You can kind of look at advertising affects our lives every day as an umbrella, and then everything else is falling underneath it. The really cool thing about this paragraph is that it does also have a secondary main idea at the bottom where it says not one aspect of American life is untouched by advertising. So advertising affects our lives every day. Not one aspect of American life is untouched by advertising. This is the purpose of our text because it's the overarching main idea. Everything that's in the paragraph otherwise falls underneath this umbrella. So there's a really cute puppy. Like, how do you not like that puppy? Like, isn't that the cutest thing ever? All right, so let's look at this again for supporting detail. I've already told you the first and the last sentences of this have something to do with advertising. They're umbrella words that have to do with advertising. So we know that if those are the two main ideas in the text, then the rest of it has to be supporting detail, right? So the big question is, how does this detail support the main idea? So advertising affects our life every day. Let's look through here and identify what things happen in this paragraph that happen every day in our life. We start each day using toothpaste, soap, and breakfast foods. Okay, that's true. I get up and I brush my teeth. I, get ready for the day. I eat breakfast. I might have an English muffin that's, an Entenmann's or a Thomas. I might have Life cereal. Those are all brand names by advertisers, so those affect my daily life. Ads have made the cars we drive signs of our success. All right, excellent. Our choices of food, dress, and entertainment are swayed by ads. Okay, we drive in cars, we eat, we use clothes, we listen to music, we watch movies, we watch television shows. All of those things we come to through advertising. Not one aspect of American life is untouched by advertising. It's true because they've touched in this paragraph on our daily life and the way that advertising impacts it. So all of those sentences in the middle are supporting detail. So if I were to say to you, if you're writing an essay about how this how this paragraph uses supporting detail, you can say, the main idea conveys the idea that advertising impacts our daily life. In the paragraph, they talk about starting the day, going through the day, making choices about food, dress, and entertainment that we need in our everyday existence. So that would be the supporting detail there. All right, let's do this one more time, and then you can go on and take that quiz. So we're going to look at this paragraph. Penicillin is one of the greatest of the wonder drugs. It has saved thousands of lives already and will save many more in the future. Unfortunately, it has no effect at all on most of the ills of mankind. Penicillin is a very good drug, but it is certainly not a cure-all. Okay, excellent. So think about this one. Main idea is, again, similar to our last paragraph. It's going to be twofold. It's going to be the first and the last sentence of our paragraph. Penicillin is one of the greatest of the wonder drugs. And why is it one of the greatest of the wonder drugs? Supporting detail indicates that it has saved thousands of lives already, so therefore it will save many more in the future. So that's the supporting detail for that main idea, that it's a great wonder drug. Penicillin is a very good drug, but it is certainly not a cure-all. Well, we know it's not a cure-all because the supporting detail for that says, unfortunately, it has no effect at all on most of the ills of mankind. So penicillin is a great drug for the ills that it cures, but unfortunately it doesn't cure all of them. So that is our supporting detail. So you are done with the video. You're going to close this out. You're going to go back to that quiz in your course, and you're going to complete the quiz for credit. If you have any questions or you need any help whatsoever, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know.